Hi there, I'm Alice from SaleHoo, and welcome to this three-part series of video lessons where I'll show you how to find hot product markets and niche products, and how to find trustworthy suppliers, and how to pull more traffic to your listings or your website. And I'm going to make sure that these lessons are really budget friendly for everyone by using free methods and free software, just so that you don't need to be a SaleHoo member or to have a lot of money to get the full benefits of what I'm going to show you. Now, we've created these videos based on a recent survey which we conducted, and I talked you through the results recently. And the survey revealed 3 things that you want more information from us on. So number 1 was finding niches and hot products. So there's still a lot of you out there who want to know exactly what it is that you should be selling. Also, more information on finding trusted suppliers. And 3, getting more traffic to your listings. And another reason why we are doing these videos is because pretty soon we are releasing SaleHoo Stores, which is our very own e-commerce platform. And I know that if you own your own website, which is what SaleHoo Stores allows you to do, I know that you need a solid background in these 3 things. You need to know how to find niches, you need to know how to build relationships with trusted suppliers, and you need to be able to get more traffic to your site, which is really important. And of course, you're absolutely not obligated at all to get SaleHoo Stores, but I just want to point out that this information will be extremely valuable to you if you do choose to take up our offer. So anyway, here's the deal with these videos. I've got 3 video lessons lined up, and I will pack as much information and step-by-step instructions in as I can, and all I want from you is your time. I just want you to make sure that you actually watch these videos, because I'm putting a lot of time into making them, and they are completely free, but I just want to make sure that you actually get some use out of them. So I will do what I can to keep these videos shorter than 1 hour long, probably more like 30 minutes long, and all I want from you is just a maximum of 3 hours of your time this week, where you just sit back and watch these videos. And I will be delivering the videos this week, so please just commit to 3 hours of your time at maximum to watching these, and I promise that you will learn tips and information that will boost your business and get you where you want to go. Okay, so enough of me telling you what to do. Let's dive into our first lesson, which is all about finding profitable niches. This is the obvious place to start because there isn't really a lot that you can do if you don't have products to sell. It's also what you want to hear most about, because how to decide what to sell came up in the survey results as the most wanted information. So I'm going to deliver this to you first. So there are 3 phases to finding a good niche. Number 1, you come up with ideas for what to sell. Number 2, testing the market for supply and demand. And 3, finding a good supplier. Now we're going to cover the first steps in this video, and then we will look into finding a good supplier in the next video. Okay, so one of the first things that you should do when you are looking for an item to sell is just to browse around various online marketplaces. This is really easy to do, and it's a fantastic way to come up with ideas for products to sell. So I'm just going to flick over to my browser now, just so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. And I'll be doing this a lot in these videos because I know that it's a great way for you to learn just by seeing me do it rather than me just talking about how to do it. So let's go to eBay and start browsing around. And it really doesn't matter which marketplace you browse or where it is that you are planning on selling. You just have to start looking around and noting down ideas you have, and we will test the viability of those ideas later. So I usually just browse around various categories that appeal to me or that look interesting. And one hot tip that I can offer is that baby items and pet related items are pretty solid markets, and there are some great niches within these markets, and there's always a consistent following. People just seem to love spoiling their babies or their fur babies if they are pet owners. So I am just going to look around home and garden. And while I'm browsing these categories, I like to keep Notepad or Evernote or an Excel spreadsheet open while I look through here and note down some of the ideas that I come up with so that I can test them out later. So I've already got a couple of entries on here, and I'm just going to add to these as I go through and browse eBay. And really all I do is just scroll through these search results and just have a good look around and just come up with some ideas for things that I could turn into a niche and that I could sell. So for example, I could look at this solar power fountain water pump and think, oh, that could be a good idea. And I'll just add it to my list. Water fountain pump. And then, just keep going through and just anything that stands out to you, add it to your list. And remember that this list needs to be big. The more you get on that list, the better. So spend some time during this step. And as you can see, this really is the easy part. There isn't a lot of thought that goes into it, and that's a good thing. I think it's good that this starts out really easy for you. Now, one thing that you should keep in mind when you are hunting out a new niche is that some sellers insist on you selling something that interests you personally. So, if you like hiking, for example, maybe you could look into selling top quality hiking socks or something like that. And the reason why this is valuable is because it just makes your selling ventures a whole lot more enjoyable if you're selling something that you like. And also, it gives you insider knowledge. So if you are a hiker, then you know yourself what you're looking for in hiking socks, and you know your audience well, so you have an idea of how to appeal to that market. There's also that old saying, find something that you love doing and you will never work again a day in your life. So that's also, another reason. I guess that's true. If you're selling something that you really love, then it definitely makes your selling venture a lot easier because you're going to be dealing with these products day in and day out. Now, other sellers just sell whatever sells and whatever makes them the most profits. And I personally think that both approaches are good, and incorporating hobbies and interest is certainly worthwhile. In my selling career, I have usually gone for whatever sells best, and I haven't really sold things that I have a particular interest in, but the items sold really well, and so that's why I chose them. Anyway, another cool site that you can use to collect ideas for what to sell is bonanza.com, which, as you might know, is a marketplace. And they have really cool, unique items for sale there, and sellers there present their items so beautifully, so it's a really nice place to gather ideas. So let's just have a quick look there. So this is bonanza.com, and here on the home page they have this really cool showcase feature where they roll through different showcases or montages that sellers on Bonanza put together. And they usually have some kind of theme, like this one here is cool, clear water, and so everything has blue tones. And the other day when I was looking, there was one called Tealicious, and everything was teal coloured. So whenever I come to Bonanza to read a blog or to do some research or something like that, I'm always seduced by this page, and I can never get past it without opening a listing and taking a closer look. So I just wanted to share that with you because I think, it could be a great place for you to get some ideas on what to sell as well. One thing that I do notice with these montages on Bonanza, though, is that they're quite feminine and they feature a lot of clothing and accessories. So if you're looking for something other than these kind of items to sell, then you might just want to go straight to browse categories up the top there. Right, so just like eBay, you just want to browse through these different categories and add plenty of items to your niche. And remember, the more the better. And just remember to keep adding them onto your spreadsheet or your notepad file. And you should devote a good amount of time to this. I know it would be great if we could spend, just like half an hour finding different niche ideas, but I'm afraid that it does take longer than that. And one of the best pieces of niche hunting advice that I've ever heard, and one that I can pass on to you, is to remember that the longer that it takes you to find a niche, the better it will be. And what this means is the more time that you spend finding a niche, the more competitors you're going to cut out. So think of it like a marathon. When you start out, you have a big crowd around you at the starting line. Just like now, you're at the starting line when you're trying to find a niche, and you have thousands of other sellers around you who are also trying to do the same thing. And then as time passes and the race gets tougher, people start to drop off. And I see this a lot when some sellers spend, say, like 30 minutes looking for an idea for a product to sell, and then they give up because they think it's too hard. So then you start to have a lot less competition because people around you give up. They give up the race to find a niche. But you're still here and you're still, chasing niches. And so the longer that you spend on it, the better. And I've read posts on the SaleHoo forum where people talk about the fact that it's taken them weeks or even months to find a good niche. So don't be surprised if it's the same for you. Don't be disheartened, and just make sure that you're prepared to spend time on this. Okay, so that's phase 1 of 3 phases to finding a good niche taken care of. And now we need to test the market for supply and demand. Now the next thing that you need to do is take your big list of possible niches and test it. And we're testing for market interest and competition. And we want to find out if there's enough buyer interest in the product to support it and make plenty of sales. And we also want to assess how much competition there is, because if there's too much, you might have a hard time making sales. Now, as promised, I will be using free market research methods for this section, because I want to make sure that you'll be able to use this information even if you aren't a SaleHoo member or if you don't have a lot of money to get started. And one of the best free ways to assess both competition and demand is to use the Google keyword tool. And you can find the Google keyword tool by just Googling Google keyword tool, or I'll add a link below this video where you can check it out as well, because the URL is quite long, as you can see there. So the Google keyword tool is primarily used by people looking to place Google advertisements on their websites and earn money that way. So it shows how many people actually search for the particular keywords or names of potential products in our case, and it shows the competition rating, which essentially tells us how hard a market will be to break through. So what you need to do is enter keywords relating to the item that you are researching. So if I pull up my list of niches, and remember yours will be nice and long, I've got a couple of things here. I'll start with chicken coops. So what I might enter into here is something related to what people would search for if they were interested in buying a chicken coop. So I'm going to enter raising chickens. Oops. And then you just need to enter the human verification code. I'm really bad at these. I think I have bad eyes. Is it an L? Luckily this isn't, oh, it's too bad this isn't live. You guys could tell me. Okay, it worked. So let's take a look at these results that have just been generated by the Google keyword tool. So as you can see, this is the keyword here, and here is the competition rating and the global monthly searches. So then it's also got this big list down here of all these other keywords that are variations on this word that I typed in. And there are a couple of things that I'll be looking at here. First of all, the buyer potential of the keyword. And some of these keywords don't really indicate buyer intention as much as others. And buyer intention is the likelihood that people searching for these keywords are looking for something to buy. They could just be looking for free information, which is why a lot of people search for things on the internet. So for example, how to raise chickens is probably being searched for by people who just want information, and maybe they would buy a book if they stumbled across one, but probably they are just looking for free information that they can find on a website. So what you want to do is find a keyword that relates to a specific product. So if we look through here, here is chicken coops, which is a specific product, which probably indicates that, if people are searching for this keyword, they are probably looking to buy a chicken coop. So this is a really good starting point. Now, the first thing that I'm going to look at when I find a product or a product keyword like this is the level of traffic, and generally the higher the better. But again, generally, the higher the traffic, the more competition that you're potentially going to be up against. So in this case, chicken coops gets a lot of monthly searches globally and locally, 368,000 and over 200,000 locally. And you can also see the competition that you're up against. And in this case, the competition is on the high side. The competition is medium according to the Google keyword tool, and you can see it here represented in green, and the white represents where there's no competition. But just a quick note here about competition when you're doing keyword research. It's not necessarily something to be scared off by. In fact, I think you should be wary of markets that seem to offer to have no competition at all. Because unless you're creating your own product that brings something completely new to the table that people aren't yet searching for, there's always going to be other sellers selling the item that you want to sell. Plus, it's really not that hard to distinguish yourself from the competition, but we'll talk about that later. So to check the level of the competition, the first thing that you want to do is just look at the rating here in the Google keyword tool. Now, don't worry if you're not familiar with how Google advertising works. You really don't need to. So really it just means that if there is a high level of competition, then there are more people bidding on the rights to be able to pay for ads to display in Google results through Google AdWords or Google advertising. And if people are willing to bid high and therefore increase the competition, it can really only mean that there is a good market for products or for information surrounding these keywords, because otherwise they wouldn't bother bidding. So some people say that more competition is better because it shows you that the keywords are valuable and worth bidding on, and therefore worth you looking into selling yourself. So therefore you probably want to be wary of any keywords that have very little competition, as these keywords or these markets may not have a very good chance at converting sales, which is why nobody's paying to bid on them. So if there is a market with plenty of related keywords and decent levels of traffic with respectable levels of competition, then it's definitely worth taking a closer look. So from here, what you want to do is go through your list in your Excel spreadsheet and test out your ideas, and then note down the competition ratings and the search volume. So what you might do is create a new column, and this one could be search volume, and then over here you could have competition. And that way you can just keep track of exactly what's going on with each item, and just make a note here, and you'll need this data later when you decide which items are better, because you can just at a glance instantly see the item, the search volume and the competition, so you can do easy comparisons within your spreadsheet. Now you might be wondering what a good search volume is. And generally, a good search volume is anything over 10,000 global searches monthly, because that means that over 10,000 people globally are searching for the item on a monthly basis. But you should also keep an eye on your local search volume over on this side, especially if you are not going to be selling the items to international buyers. So as I say, just create columns in your spreadsheet and note down all this data so that you can compare it later. And remember, you should be doing this with a number of products. The more the better. And yes, it does take time, but it's not exactly difficult, and it's essential for finding good, profitable niches. Now, the next thing that you want to do is go ahead and enter these terms into Google and check out firsthand what sort of competition that you will be up against. Now, obviously, there's a pretty big market for chickens and chicken coops, and remember, these numbers are for monthly search volumes. So here's a site that I came across. Although it doesn't have great search rankings, it does have a full-time income for the owner, and it's called chickendiapers.com. Now, this site was featured on entrepreneur.com recently, and it's doing very well. And recently they were on the hunt for a new staff member because they couldn't keep up with orders. Now, as you can see, this site isn't particularly attractive. They use Comic Sans font, which is a bit of a no-no among the web design community. So there's a lot of room for improvement here, but, as I say, they are making a full-time living. So for me, this website really proves that there are some crazy but very profitable niches out there. And if you had have told me that people can make a full-time living from selling diapers for chickens, I don't think I would have believed you. So what I'd do while I'm here, if I was trying to look at competing with this website and I was going to try and sell chicken diapers myself, is I'd just note down exactly what it is that they sell and how much they sell it for. And I'd enter this information into my spreadsheet. And you will need this information later when you are looking at sourcing the items yourself from suppliers, because you'll want to know exactly how much you can buy the items for compared to your competitors, which is, the people on this site. Now, just before we move on, I did some research yesterday and I came up with some potential leads for you to test out yourself and add to your own list of potential niches. And this is probably the most specific niche information that I've ever given out in any of my lessons or at any time. So take note of these. I'm making this really easy for you and I don't do it often, so pay attention. So first up, marbles. Now these had a search volume of over 2 million per month, and I found a site called landofmarbles.com. And this ranks 4th in Google when you search for marbles, or at least it did for me. Your search results could be different depending on, if you're searching in the US or the UK, or if you've customized your Google settings at all. So if you're interested in testing out the marble market, come and take a look around this site and note down how they sell things, what they sell, and how much they sell them for. Now, another potential niche is turtle-related gifts and toys. I found some really good numbers and favourable competition ratings when I searched for turtles in Google AdWords, so it's probably well worth having a look at those. Now, another thing you can do is test other variations of other different animals, because a lot of people have a favourite type of animal and they collect figurines and ornaments of them. So, for example, my mum is all about hedgehogs because she once wrote a children's book about a hedgehog, and then she started collecting hedgehog ornaments. And then all of a sudden, everybody around her would buy her hedgehogs for every birthday and every Christmas, which indicates that it's a great money spinner. And they would definitely make a good niche if people were snapping them up as gifts. Now, another potential niche is costumes. Now these are huge all over the world and not just around Halloween, although there is definitely a spike during that time, which won't come as a surprise. But year round, people do go to dress-up parties or children's parties and they need costumes for them. And there are tons of different niche markets within the costume market. So here are some keyword results that I found, just to give you a few ideas. So costumes had over 30 million search results globally every month. Costumes for Halloween, 5 million. Kids costumes, 1 million. Halloween costume ideas, 1 million. Sexy costume, 800,000. Costumes for women, 800,000. Girls costumes, 600,000. Adult costumes, 600,000. Boys costumes, 600,000. Dance costumes, 450,000. Lady Gaga costume, 450,000. Costume shops, 450,000. So definitely plenty of room for specialization in costumes. Now doll making is another term that I looked into which had some good results. Doll making itself, the keyword, had 74,000 results. Doll making supplies, 5,000. And then another spin-off was craft supplies at 368,000. Doll houses, 368,000. Doll dress, 300,000. Doll clothes, 246,000. Clothes for dolls, 200,000. And blow-up dolls for 90,000. Now, another keyword that looked promising and that could make a good niche is beer making. And that's teddy bear making, not like beer brewing. And there were 33,000 searches for beer making, and I found this website called verycheap.com, which ranks at the top of Google search results when you search for beer making, and it gets anywhere from 1,000 to 4,000 visits every month, which is really big search volumes, or really big site visitor volumes. And as you can see, it's not the most beautiful modern website, but it still does well. So I think that this is an opportunity for you to create a point of difference for between yourself and between this website. If you do choose to pursue this niche, if you had a really well laid out website, then that could be the differentiating factor between you and verycheap.com. Okay, I need to get this lesson tied up, but just quickly, here are a few more keywords and product ideas that I gathered while I was doing some research for this lesson. Brooch, 637,000 searches per month. Lapel pins, 135,000 per month. Brooch pin, 60,000. Safety pins, 60,000. Garden gnomes, 74,000. Embroidery, 2,740,000. How to embroider is 2,740,000 again. Embroidery machine is 300,000. Embroidery stitches, 60,000. Hat embroidery, 27,000. Patch embroidery, 40,000. And embroidery shirt, 49,000. Now, I know I'm rushing through these really quickly. If you like, you can pause this video and note these down. I'm just firing through them so we don't drag this out too long. Here's just a couple more. Knitting, 5 million searches. Crochet, 7.4 million. How to crochet, 7.4 million. How to knit, 5 million. Knit hat, 300,000. Knitting for baby, 246,000. Knit scarf, 165,000. Knit sweater, 135,000. Now, just keep in mind that these stats were taken early this week and they could change slightly, but it's unlikely that the search volumes will vary a great deal. So these are pretty hot niches, and they're just some starting points for you to get some ideas and start doing your own research. Now, I just want to point something out here. If your sole strategy is to be selling on eBay, then your task of finding a good niche is going to be a tough one. No matter what your market is, there's always going to be competition of some type when you sell on eBay.com. And the killer part is that everybody competes on price. On eBay, that's really all it's about. And this is the reason why so many people consider eBay to be a wholesale marketplace. And it can work if you get a really great deal on certain products, particularly when you spend a lot of money on investing on a bulk lot of items, because as we know, you get the best deals from wholesalers when you spend a lot of money. Or even better, if you just get your own unique product that nobody else sells. But otherwise, you're always going to find your listings ranked beside other ones who are trying to outmuscle everybody else on price. Plus, the other killer part is you also end up giving away a large chunk of your profits in various fees. Now, I just want to quickly show you a couple of examples of successful websites. Now, you've already seen chickendiapers.com, and if I hadn't have told you or shown you the website where somebody earns a full-time living from selling chicken diapers, you probably wouldn't have believed it if you heard it. I know I sure wouldn't have. But you don't have to be in a tiny little niche like chicken diapers to be that successful. Here are a couple of other sites that do pretty well. So this is irunathleticwear.com, and it gets around 1,500 visits per month, and it makes over $1,800 per month in profits. Another one is bunkbedbuy.com. And this site made $27,000 in profit in just 7 months. So that's around $3,900 per month. And they were just drop shipping their bunk beds. Now I'm just going to show you a couple more. I'm sorry for rushing through these, but I know that your time is important and I just want to show you all of these, even if it's just a quick glance. Now this is alexandamy.com. And they sell custom jewelry, and they made $2.2 million in revenue last year. Another one is this Design Toscano, and their primary product when they were starting out, you would not believe, was gargoyle statues. And now they earn, get this, $30 million in sales every year. Now, being realistic, to get that level of sales in those last couple of examples, you're not exactly going to do that by working at your kitchen table like you probably are now. But keep in mind that Design Toscano started out just as a small family business, and it grew from there. And, they didn't get that type of income overnight. The thing is, and not many people realize this, is that getting your own professionally designed website is really easy nowadays, and there's no need to spend thousands of dollars getting a web designer to create you one from scratch. And, besides, it really wouldn't make any sense for a small entrepreneur to go spending, say, $2,000 or $3,000 getting an e-commerce site set up, especially when you consider the fact that the vast majority of web designers don't know exactly what a site should look like or what it should do or how it should function. You need an online retail expert or a web usability expert to do this for you. And remember, with your own site, you don't have to give up selling on eBay or any other marketplace that's working for you. In fact, you can just use your own website as a lead generator, or so you can use these marketplaces as a lead generator to get them to your business where you're going to make more money. Primarily because you're not going to be paying fees and you're not going to be crunching your prices down so much to meet all the other really low prices on sites like eBay. So here's the deal. In a couple of weeks, we are going to release our brand new software that helps sellers like you get your own site up and running easier than anything else that's available on the market at the moment. And this software has been about 2 years in the making. That's how advanced it is. And you don't need to know a thing about programming or web hosting or HTML coding or anything like that. All you need to do is to be able to point and click and follow some very simple instructions to have your own site up and running within minutes. Literally, I mean minutes. I've checked out the software myself and it's amazing how quickly you can get your store set up. Now with your own store, you have so many options of how you position yourself and your online business. And you're not limited by any regulations of any big established markets. And you can make more on each sale because not only can you charge a premium price, You also don't have to pay out ridiculous success fees. And one other thing that people find invaluable is the credibility that having a professional website gives them. So not only will your customers find it easier to trust you, but it can also really help when you are looking to deal with new suppliers as well, because some suppliers expect you to have your own website before they can give you the best prices possible. Now, the only problem with running your own site, if you call it a problem, is that it's no good having a really great looking website with all your amazing products if nobody's actually going to come and visit your website. Now, that's why if you are one of the first people to own a SaleHoo store early next week when we open up the order page, we're going to throw in a comprehensive guide to getting traffic to your website. And this guide has been put together by Mark Ling, who is the co-owner of SaleHoo.com and a leading expert in online marketing all around the world. And he's crafted this course specifically for e-commerce sites, just like the one that you can build with SaleHoo stores and sell your products with. So anyway, if you are at all serious about building your own online business and enjoying the freedom of being able to work from home and to your own schedule, then here's what you need to do. Just go to salehoo.com/stores, and at the bottom of the page you will find a sign up form, and just enter your details there and you'll be able to get on the list to get advanced notice of when we release SaleHoo stores next week, and to make sure that you get your copy of your free traffic guide. Now anyway, regardless of whether or not you do that, in a couple of days I will have another video for you, and we will cover how to track down suppliers once you have done your market research and found your product ideas. So go to salehoo.com/stores now and put your name down on the waiting list, and I'll talk with you soon. See ya!